In the headlines, APC postpones official unveiling of vice presidential candidate. Nollywood actor Baba Ijesha jailed 16 years for sexual assault. Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria says 165 naira petrol pump price no longer realistic. And away from Nigeria, Sri Lanka president lands in Singapore as wait for resignation continues. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayuba Ila. Thank you for joining. Beginning with political matters, the All Progressives Congress has postponed the official unveiling of former Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima as its vice presidential candidate for the 2023 general elections. Shettima was meant to have been presented to party members at the APC National Secretariat on Thursday, but an APC official told reporters that the event has been moved forward. He said a new date will be announced in due time and that the date will probably be sometime next week. The directive for the postponement is said to have been given by the party's Deputy National Secretary. No reason has been given for the decision, which comes amid controversy over the choice of a Muslim ticket by the party. Meanwhile, the national chairman of the ruling All Progressives Congress, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, has defended the decision of the party's presidential candidate, Bola Tinubu, to settle for Senator Kashim Shettima as his running mate for the coming 2023 general elections. The chairman answered some questions from State House reporters The chairman answered questions from State House reporters in the president's home country in Daura. Adamu said that the party had to agree on the strategic decision because of the reality of politics in Nigeria, stressing that nobody was out to promote Christian or Muslim ticket. He said Nigerians should not look at the ticket from a religious perspective, but rather from what the candidate can offer the nation.
That's the reason for having two of us, or two major religious persuasions, to be in this country. And each of these groups have got people who have reason to believe they have a stake also. We've had time when Christians led this country. We've had time when Muslims in the country. We can't deny that fact. We can't have what we want at a point in time, all of us agreeing to one thing. The fact of the matter is, we appreciate that the Christians are interested in it, no doubt about it. But the fact of the matter is, we're as practical as we can in this situation, and we do hope that people will see reason. Nobody is wanting to promote Christianity or Muslim ticket necessarily, but we have to face the reality of our politics in the country. And that's what exactly we're doing.
Presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, has picked Bishop Isaac Idahosa as his running mate for the 2023 general elections. The party announced the nomination on its official Twitter page on Thursday, barely 24 hours to the expiration date for substitution of nominations. Bishop Isaac Idahosa from Edo State is the senior pastor of God First Ministry, also known as Illumination Assembly, with its headquarters at Lekki Light Center, Aja, Lagos. Idahosa was born in Minna, Niger State, where he and his siblings grew up. He had his formal education there and enjoyed scholarship up to the university level in Niger State. Now, ahead of the Saturday governorship election in Osun State, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has trained journalists on the election coverage and reportage. Hamid Oegbade reports that journalists drawn from various media organizations attended the training in Osogbo, the state capital. INEC National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, appealed to journalists to familiarize themselves with the electoral law and the innovations introduced by INEC. He appealed to journalists not to announce a winner until the commission declares one to avoid misleading the public and causing electoral violence when such announcement is different from what was reported before the official results.
To be abreast of the constitutional and legal issues involved in the conduct of a governorship election. Not only that, we also expect the journalists to be abreast of the new technological innovations that have been put in place by the Commission that will also be at play during this particular election. For instance, the Electoral Act 2022 will be at play in this election, and this is the second election that the Electoral Act 2022 will be used. We're also going to deploy the BVAS for this particular election, and we're also going to deploy the IREV for this particular election. So the journalists must know the configuration of some of these things, know some of the timelines embedded in our laws for the conduct of every aspect of the election, and also be abreast and have an elementary knowledge of the constitutive legal instruments for this particular election, and also the new technological innovations for this particular election.
Still on election matters, Deputy Governor of Oyo State, Rauf Olaniyan, is to appeal an Oyo State High Court judgment which refused to halt impeachment proceedings against him by the House of Assembly. Justice Ladiran Akintola of Oyo State High Court, sitting in Ibadan, ruled on Thursday that the House of Assembly had not breached any provisions of the Constitution pertaining to the removal of a governor or deputy governor, but the deputy governor has resolved to appeal the verdict delivered by the lower court. Counsel to the deputy governor, Afolabi Fashanu, confirmed that he had filed applications for notice of appeal and stay of execution of the judgment. In a similar vein, the Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed a suit seeking the disqualification of Osun State Governor Adeboyega Oyetola as the All Progressive Congress candidate for the July 16 governorship election in the state. Delivering judgment, Justice Inyang Eko stated that the plaintiff, Moshood Adioti, failed to support the process with relevant laws and as such showed no cause of action in the suit. Justice Eko added that the suit instituted falls outside the scope of Section 87, subsection 9 of the Electoral Act and Section 22 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Adioti, who was one of the aspirants in the February 19 APC governorship primary for the state candidacy, wanted the court to disqualify Oyetola on the grounds that the governor contested in the poll as a member of the party's caretaker extraordinary and convention planning committee. Now, an Ikeja offences court has convicted and sentenced Nollywood actor Olarewaju Omiyinka James, alias Baba Ijesha, to 16 years imprisonment for sexually assaulting a 14-year-old minor. Justice Oluwatoyin Taiwo, in a 2-hour judgment on Thursday, convicted James of indecent treatment of a child, sexual assault, and attempted sexual assault. Baba Ijesha was pronounced guilty of counts 2, 3, 4, and 5, while the prosecution could not prove the offences on count 1 and 6. Taiwo therefore discharged and acquitted him of count 1 and count 6, which were sexual assault by penetration and attempted sexual assault by penetration. He was, however, found guilty of indecent treatment of a child and sexual assault, which is contrary to Section 135 of the Lagos State Criminal Law 2015. Now, to get perspectives on this, we are being joined by Timi Olagunju, legal practitioner and policy consultant, to talk about this. Thank you for joining us on the news update.
Thank you for having me.
All right, well, what would you say about this judgment? Would you consider it a victory for the family now?
Well, what you promote is what becomes popular. Having seen how this kind of cases have evolved over time, right? It catches special offenses.
Hello?
Right?
Yes, go ahead.
Considering how in the past, right? We can see that the Special Offences Court has done some measure of justice to the issue. Because when you look at the issue, the court is a court of evidence, not a court of assumption or hearsay. And based on the two issues of indecent treatment and attempted sexual assault, right? That was the basis upon which the conviction was made. The other count 1, which is on sexual assault by penetration, and count 6 of attempted sexual assault by penetration, were discharged and discountenanced by the court, right? So based on the evidence, right, we can see there's a certain level of progress on issues of this kind of nature. Yes.
All right. So, what do you think that this will? What do you think is the implication of this on the entertainment industry?
Oh well, it's not really about the entertainment industry per se, because impunity towards issues of sexual molestation, and it's not limited to male and female, right? It's a general. It has no gender bias in that sense. Issues of this nature, assaults of this nature, right, is a general stuff beyond the entertainment industry. And as such, what you promote is what becomes popular. The years of impunity on such issues and a lack of certain level of justice, or justice seem to be evidently done, might have somewhat encouraged the bad behavior over time. But I see this bringing some level of sanity to not just the entertainment industry, but even offices across Nigeria, right, where assaults, sexual assaults, whether of minors or even of adults, has become a trend.
All right. Now, we have had speculations about how that he may not even end up spending the 16 years sentenced. What's your take on this?
Well, I think the certain, what's it called? He appeals, right? Let us believe that he is going to serve his sentence. I think there might be certain prerogative for behavior or something of that nature based on parole. What that stands is that based on the 2 counts of indecent treatment and attempted sexual assaults, right, he has been sentenced. And somewhat justice has been seen to be done.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the news update, Timi Olagunju, legal practitioner and policy consultant, and sharing your perspectives with us.
Yeah.
All right. Now, moving on, President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday promised that his government will continue to provide the needed support required to wipe out terrorists and insurgents off the face of the earth. The president made the promise while speaking at the graduation ceremony of 247 students of the Senior Course 44 of the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, Kaduna State. Buhari, who celebrated the sacrifices and successes of the Nigerian military in defending the country, described the specifics of their training, which focused primarily on countering security threats, as very important, adding that combating these prevalent security threats effectively demands that African countries continue to work together at all levels. In his address, the commandant of the college, Air Vice Marshal Olurotimi Towase, explained that 111 Army officers, 69 naval officers, 42 Air Force officers, 10 students from paramilitary organizations and ministries, departments and agencies, as well as 15 international students completed the 48 weeks intensive training leading to the award of Pass Staff Course. Now, the Delta State Commissioner of Police, Muhammad Ali, says his men were not involved in the shooting that happened on Tuesday, which led to the death of 2 persons in Embromede area of Warri in Delta State. The commissioner disclosed this while briefing newsmen at the police headquarters in Asaba. The report.
The commissioner, while reacting to reports that men of the Delta State Police Command shot and killed 2 unsuspecting road users, said the trigger-happy officer is not attached to the command. He disclosed that the officer attached to an unidentified VIP shot at them in a bid to make way for their convoy. He described the act as an act of cruelty and urged eyewitnesses in the area to assist the police with information that will lead to the identification of the convoy or the officers involved.
For the simple reason that the keke napep in which they were driving on did not give chance or did not give road for them to pass or have easy access, which now resulted to that police officer firing, is most unfortunate and quite sad. But we are still working out, trying to figure out who is this VIP in question. So what I want to tell you precisely is that the command does not know anything about that incident.
The police boss, who gave an insight into the alleged killing of a farmer at Obiaruku, called for synergy between Edo and Delta State police commands to fish out suspected kidnappers who have infiltrated the Orimogbe Railway, which borders the two states.
I went to Obiaruku, had meeting with traditional rulers, the youth, market women, and I tasked the Hausa community to go all out and fish out the bad eggs among them. We went to Agbo Railway, where we were made to understand these kidnappers normally pass through the railway line, crossing through Oronigbe Forest. We shared that Oronigbe Forest with Edo State. I call on the CP Edo State, and in fact, we have a common understanding. These men can come here when it comes to the issue of crime fighting.
You're watching the news update on Trust Television. Coming up shortly. More adopt family planning in Kano. Details and more shortly. Welcome back. You're watching the news update on Trust Television. Here is a reminder of our top stories. APC postpones official unveiling of vice presidential candidate. Nollywood actor Baba Ijesha jailed 16 years for sexual assault. In other news, Nigerian pilgrims will start returning home from Friday after the completion of the 2022 Hajj exercise. The chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, Alhaji Zikrullah Kunle Hassan, disclosed this during this year's post-Arafat meeting with stakeholders held in Mecca, Saudi Arabia on Wednesday. Hassan assured that the homeward airlifting would be first in, first out, noting that lessons have been learned from this year's Hajj that would aid NACON's better performance in the next exercise. Meanwhile, the chairman, Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, Senator Adamu Bulkachua, congratulated all the pilgrims that performed the 2022 Hajj, praying Allah to accept it as an act of worship and a much more successful Hajj. Also, the chairman of the House Committee on Pilgrimage, Abubakar Nalaraba, assured that his committee will continue to work closely with the Commission for improved and successful Hajj operations. Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, has called for support in immediate passage of the National Water Resources Bill into law. The minister made the call in an exclusive interview with Trust TV. The minister explained that the bill is not targeted at grabbing the land and waterways of states. He said rather it will give direction for effective water resources development and management in the country.
All what we've been doing is to put them together into one book instead of 4 separate laws. That is one. Number 2 is to strengthen the concept of integrated water resources management so that we can manage our water resources in a sustainable manner. By this, it means making sure that there's a balance. Like I keep saying, some people have been misleading Nigerians. They've been misinforming Nigerians, and they don't want to lose face, to be seen to be the fraud that they are, and they want to continue to hammer on this water bill and also to hammer on, to continue to divide this country, and they have found a weapon to use. And this is unfortunate, this is unpatriotic, and this is unsavory, and I think they should stop it. But any patriot in Nigeria, anybody that is objective, if you have an objective mind, please go and read the Water Resources Bill and see where, in any case, it has favored any community or what.
And away from Nigeria, Sri Lanka President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has arrived Singapore on a flight from the Maldives, where he had fled after mass protest over his rule. Singapore's government said that he had been allowed entry on a private visit. It is not clear if Rajapaksa will stay or move to another destination. He pledged to resign by Wednesday amid public anger over the island's economic crisis, but has failed to do so yet. The cost of food, fuel and other basic supplies have soared for Sri Lankans. Now, at least 31 people, including children, are now known to have been killed in the last week during renewed fighting in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The UN says intense clashes between the Congolese army and several rebel groups have spread to the Beni territory, where 5 bodies were recovered on Wednesday. Locals say that the death toll might even be higher, as dozens of people are still missing. More than 700,000 people have fled their homes in Ituri and North Kivu provinces since the beginning of this year alone, bringing to 6 million the total number of people displaced by armed conflict in the Republic of Congo. Now, London's Metropolitan Police have opened an investigation into British Olympic great Mo Farah's revelation that he was illegally trafficked into Britain as a child. The 39-year-old Somalia-born athlete, who won double Olympic 5 by 10,000 meters gold for his adopted country at both the 2012 and 2016 Games, revealed in a BBC documentary this week that his real name is Hussein Abdi Kashin. He added that he was forced to work in domestic servitude after entering the country aged 8 or 9. On Wednesday, Farah was assured by the British government he will not be stripped of his citizenship, with a spokesman for Prime Minister Boris Johnson describing him as a sporting hero, rather than moving to the UK as a refugee from Somalia with his mother and 2 of his brothers to join his consultant father, as previously claimed. Farah said he came from Djibouti with a woman he had never met and then made to look after another family's children. And that's a wrap on Trust News Update. Watch more via all our social media platforms and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. I am Ayuba Ile. Thank you for watching.